Consider 2 or 3 contemporary issues, if we may. Consider abortion as a controversy which we debate the proper kind of public policy in our society. On one side are those who argue that abortion is a matter of individual right. It is a matter of personal choice, and that government errs if it imposes a moral or religious doctrine on society which declares that on religious grounds abortion is either right or wrong because of some belief that not everyone endorses. In other words, unless it can be shown that government is enhancing the right of individuals to freedom of choice, any action that cannot meet that test is not good law, one side says. The other side says that government has an obligation to protect individuals' lives against the depredation of others, that murder is an obvious case in point where government has to protect people's lives in ways that they could not protect themselves in the state of nature, and that the fetus is a particular example of this. Locke gives no answer to this question, but we certainly debate the question in Lockean terms. Both sides do. Consider another example. We talk about Social Security these days, and one part of our political spectrum argues that Social Security is coercive. In effect, under Social Security, you are forced by the government to insure yourself against destitution in old age. You have to buy an insurance policy from the government. The political right argues that this is a deprivation of personal liberty, that individuals should be free to plan for their old age or not as they see fit, and to buy such annuities and securities for old age as they think are most profitable to them. That that's a choice that should be left to the individual. That there's no advantage to society or to the individual in forcing an individual to bear insurance that the government issues for old age. That this fails to meet the Lockean test, that a person in the state of nature would not rationally agree to such a law. The other side that defends Social Security says, no, there's a problem here. Unless people provided for their old age and were required to provide for their old age, a person who is not calculating an enlightened self-interest but simple selfishness could easily say, I won't save for my old age. I'll spend it all now, and when I get to be 65, I'll go to the county courthouse. And there's nobody who's just going to let me starve to death, on the steps of the county courthouse. So they'll take care of me in my old age anyway. And the view is that if, people selfishly calculated that way, they could probably get away with it. And that some people would take advantage of the system, whereas everybody else, prudently concerned not to be an obligation on family or community, would logically save for their old age. Hence, Social Security is a good idea because it requires everybody not to take advantage of one another by enforcing a saving for old age. Once again, both justifications are very Lockean. There's no right answer, but we certainly argue on Lockean grounds. Or consider taxation. Democrats, progressives argue for progressive taxation, that the wealthier in society should pay a higher proportion of their taxes in incomes in tax. Some conservatives argue on more Lockean grounds that government should not be permitted to take money in taxation to fulfill social schemes like creating greater equality or helping the poor, that this is not government's business, that the money isn't the government's money, it's the individual's money. If you've earned it fairly under the law, it should be yours to do with as you see fit, and no righteous government should take it for well-meaning but badly planned social schemes. Well, that's a good Lockean argument. On the other hand, there is also a Lockean argument that says that runs to the effect that when great inequalities of wealth appear in society, people do not have equal chances to express their liberty, and that the rich will in fact intrude upon the choices that are available to the poor or the more moderately off, and that it is a responsibility of government to open up rights in that situation and to provide a context where all can be freer to choose. And that argument too has a Lockean base.